Why, hi everyone. Welcome to today's Hooray, It's Thursday with Court. I'm Courtney. I'm calling you. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and I'm so happy to have you here joining me today. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I've just been having a bit of a rat around the internet and found that I quite like without alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends. So I'm a Australian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. You'll see the link below for my newsletter, for my Stampin' Up! Store in Australia. If you're in Australia, you're welcome to shop with me. In other countries, you will need to press on that lovely link up the top of your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator page, or the Stampin' Up! Page that says Find Me a Demonstrator. So I have got our lovely catalogue sitting on my table here, and I've got one stamp, and you will probably recognise it. It's from our Thoughtful Wishes. Thoughtful Wishes is a stamp set that I'm using when coming up for our retreat. So I've got a retreat in 2 weeks' time. This is our stamp set. Quite a beautiful stamp set. Some line images. You can do some colouring with these, and quite a few nice sentiments for both inside and outside. Plus, there is this fabulous die set that goes with it. I'm just noticing I've had this sitting in the sun, so some of my cardstocks actually change colour. I really love this piece here. That's fabulous. This is a 2-piece die, so you've actually got 2 dies here. The one that I've done in our Petunia Pop, which is our pink, and then I've layered it on top of that. I've popped some Mossy Meadow, just so that you can see that it's 2-step. I do like to do this with our dies when I get the opportunity. This one here cuts out here, and this one here you'll see you can cut that one out there as well. So I've got some fabulous projects coming up for retreat, but this is not a retreat project, but I'm going to show you a couple of things that I like with it. Now, I do want to see if I can convince myself to be in the little bottom corner, which we've done, and I'm starting to think I'm a bit close today. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I've got a taller chair because you're seeing more of me, and it's chopping off the top of my head actually. So, but I'll just sit here and crouch a little bit. But you're going to see a lot of the top of my head because I like to look down when I craft. So, but when I'm talking to you, it's also nice to actually face you. So I'm going to play with Thoughtful Wishes. I've got some basic cardstock. I've got white. I've got an envelope here. And I've got some basic black. So just some basic black. So I thought I'd have a bit of a play. There's so many techniques. Oh, hello, how you going? I'm finally home to watch. I love it, Chris. That's great. This is our glass mat, which you can currently get. It's an online exclusive now. I'm so glad that they brought it back. I absolutely love it. It makes stamping so much easier. Everything's a flat surface. It comes with a great little chamois, which I really love. It's nice and soft. Mine's got a few love marks on it, which are in the shape of butterflies, or stamps, as we want to call them. So I'll just pop that to the side. But what I'm going to do, I'll just find all my stash, all my goodies. So I've just got a base. This is just a basic white in thick card base. So I'll just, hindsight tells me I should just prepare these and just be done with it. This is a basic black. I've found it's been quite damp here, and I'm finding that everything seems to be fluffy when it cuts. I don't know. Facebook's always better for the initial one, but YouTube's better for the rerun. My basic white and my basic black seem to get a bit fluffy. I don't know if anyone else has experienced the same thing when it's damp. So it's like the blades don't cut it as well. It's like it takes on some of the moisture. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, but I've always had the same problem. That one might be a bit too big for what I want to do. So I'm just looking at some of the sizes, some of my, I like that size of that one. So we're just going to have a bit of a play. So I've got a pile of cardstock. So when I'm cutting out things, if I cut some spares, I find I just pop them in this bag. Gosh, there's even some vellum in there from days gone by. I do miss the vellum. So I'm going to pull out 2 pieces of basic white, just because I can. I'm pretty sure I bought over, but you know, it's developed some legs now. I did. It's just over here. I bought over my Memento because I'm going to do fairly basic stamping today. So I've got 1 ink pad. I've got a Memento. However, I've got 2 piles of Stampin Blends. So I've got colorway 1 and colorway 2. Hi Lisa, how you going? So colorway 1 is quite bold colors. We've got our Calypso Coral, that one looks like Tahitian Tide, and that one looks like Poppy. Yeah, Poppy Parade. And there is some pretty peacock in there as well. Daffodil Delight is my go-to yellow. I do love my Daffodil Delight. So that's my bold. Lisa's still in her PJs. Why not? It's a great day for PJs. It's freezing. Well, it is here anyway. It wasn't when I was in Cairns a couple of weeks ago, let me say. It was lovely up there. These are my bold colours. And then on my not so bold colours, this is what I'm going to call them. Again, I've got my daffodil. It's also a dark daffodil. I pulled out the dark of each of one of these. We've got Balmy Blue. This one looks like, yep, Shy Shamrock, Peach Pie, and we've got Petunia Pop. So 2 completely different colorways, but we're going, hi Lowell, everybody's on today. This is fabulous. We're going to see what we can do with both of these, and then we'll pick from there which color we're going to hang out with, okay? Which color family. So I've also grabbed I'm loving these guys at the moment. These are our opal rounds. It's always freezing. Yeah, but that's because you're always freezing. It's not always freezing here. I've only got 1 t-shirt on, and it doesn't even have full sleeves. So these are our opal rounds. They're in 3 different colors. There's a blue color, a gold color, and a silvery white color. They've got a little bit of a sparkle in them, which is quite pretty. I'm not sure if you can see it there, but they're really pretty, and I really do like them. So I've been using them quite a bit. So I pulled those out to play with. Put the bigger block away. I don't need it. I've got these 2 pieces here. If I've cut this correctly, are going to fit quite nicely, and that's going to give me just a little bit of a frame around the outside edge. So you'll see I've made it so that it would sit up quite nice. So we're going to have a play. I probably should clean the block first. And we're going to do 2 different colorways, and then we're going to pick which one's the best. Hi Pauline, how you going? We'll play with 2 different ones, and then we'll pick which one's the best, and then we'll go with that. So I'll just give this block a bit of a clean. This chamois makes these guys really nice. And so does our regular one, but this one doesn't hold as much water, I don't think. So that's probably why I like it a bit better. These also go really well in the dishwasher, I'm just saying. So a couple of other things I've got. These are our spritzers. This one here's got alcohol in it. It'll be really hard for you to see, but I've actually written on the bottom of it that there's some alcohol in there. It says ETOH. But this one here has just got water in it. So they both spritz quite beautifully with either. You can pop a bit of colour in them if you want, a bit of re-inkers, mix them with some water, and you can do some spritzing with that. The reason why I've got alcohol is because we're going to use our alcohol markers. Now, I get my alcohol, I just grab it from Bunnings. You can get a bigger, fairly big, probably, what is it, 250 ml. The Isocol alcohol works. It's not as good. It's not as the alcohol content's not as high. So the one from Bunnings has a 99.9 or 99.8% alcohol. So I used to use it a lot on vellum. I loved it. Okay, but we're going to try it on some plain white paper. So we've got our basic white paper. We'll start with one. Let's do our, I'm going to call them our paler colorway. So I've just got to decide which, actually let's do this one. I may have too many colors, but that's all right. We'll see. I can't decide whether we're going to do a square or whether we're going to do, we'll do a long skinny one. Okay. So there's two different ends to our markers. We've got a brush end and we've got a pen end. I find my brush ends don't last as long, but as the pen end, this is really quite difficult to see, but that's okay. So I'm just putting a bit of our Balmy Blue on there. Then from Balmy Blue, I might go with our Shy Shamrock. Although blue and green should never be seen without a colour in between, isn't that a saying? Hi. Okay, so, oh wow, visiting from the UK, cool. 6 a.m. here in the UK. I bet it'll be nice and warm in the UK at the moment, because isn't it your summer? It's our winter here. It's freezing here. This one here is peach pie. So I've seen this on the internet. I can't remember the lady's name. I should have written it on my mat. And they've just had a bit of fun. So I'm just colouring a little bit on our block. And I have used the dark colours. Whoa, wrong end. I mean, you could do it with that end, but it does. I just find the brush end so much nicer to work with. I've left a little bit of a gap between the pair of them. And I might put Balmy Blue back at this end. Don't know how. I haven't done this before. I don't know how it's going to turn out. So I'll just move all of those to the side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray that with my alcohol. And then whilst it is still wet and squishy, I've got alcohol on here. I'm going to put this on here, and I've put it upside down, but that's all right, as long as it's relatively straight. And it's going to give me this pattern. And I didn't do it relatively straight. It's actually relatively crooked, but that's all right. There's always more pieces of cardstock, right? So let's do the other colorway, but with my square. And I think I might be a bit more neurotic about this one, about getting it in the right direction, because that's all lovely and everything, but it's a bit pale and interesting for me. I don't know about what you guys think. What do you reckon? Let's use this one. So bring in this colorway. We've used quite a bit of those stripes there. There's probably too many colors, I would think. So let's use less. So what we might do is go with some Pretty Peacock and these three. What do you reckon? Pretty Peacock. We'll go from our lightest to darkest this time. Wow, this is a very well-loved dark Daffodil Delight marker. Then we'll have our Poppy Parade. I love how they squeak sometimes when you're colouring them in. And our Pretty Peacock. All the dark markers. All right, my light ones are still in my bag across the way. I'll just move that one out of the way. Put some alcohol on here. And let's go up this way. Move it around a bit. Make sure it's square. Hold your tongue correctly and press. And we get that. Not bad. Now, what I'm going to do, because I can, you can flick with these the same as you can. It does look pretty, doesn't it? You can flick with these the same as you can flick with your other Stampin' Write markers, just to add a little bit of texture. Okay, that's how I've wrecked my end. See how I've just sort of done that a little bit? The other way that you can do it is taking your bone folder and you can bang on it. Okay, and you're going to get some little dusting as well. Okay, so I'll just bring that up closer to the camera so you can see what I've done. See how you can see there's both colours. Oh, probably not the easiest to see the Daffodil Delight ones, but both colours can be seen there. All right, now easy peasy, just because we want something nice and easy, nice and quick, and we're going to pop some memento on here, and we're just going to stick our plant piece like so. Ta-da! Okay. How lovely does that look? Okay. Sentiment. We need a sentiment. So essentially this is a relatively flat card. So you make life better. That is such a nice sentiment, isn't it? There's so many friends we've got in this world that make our life better. And I'm sure every single one of you knows at least one person that you could send this to. I'm not sure how well this stamps. Can't remember, but I want to see. So what I'm doing is I'm checking to see how straight it is. I've got a grid mark. I've got a grid, essentially a grid piece of paper underneath my glass mat. It's stuck to the mat. It's part of the glass mat. It's got centimeters down one side, inches across, centimeters down one side and across the bottom in Australia, inches up the side and across the top in Australia. In the US, I believe it's the other way around. Okay, so I wanted to use, I've used my grid mat here to see that it is, that's this stamp is relatively straight in comparison to its sticker. So by rights, if I hold my tongue right, I think it's about like this. All right. If I hold my tongue right, I should be able to come down here and hopefully stamp this here. And it's straight. Okay. So now there's a really pretty packet of ribbon at the moment. It's got petal pink and white, and it's a grosgrain ribbon. It comes as a packet with both of them in it. This ribbon can be coloured with our Stampin' Blends, so you could colour it to match. You could make it white. I could also pop a set of leaves on here, which is what I think I might do, just because I can. And then, oh, actually, you know what? Maybe not. We'll see. Because I actually think that by itself, that looks pretty smick. Okay. So I'm just grabbing a piece of black cardstock. I want a fairly big piece. I've got quite a few little wispy bits here. I don't think it's going to need it, but I was thinking maybe we could use some of this, but I don't know. What do you guys reckon? I don't think it needs it. I actually think it looks pretty good as it is, but I like to put ribbon on things. So we're going to pop some ribbon on it. Okay. We're going to end up making 2 cards today. Mind you, I only bought over 1 piece of cardstock, you know, as you do. But I've got, that's crooked. That's going. Okay, we're not going to use that piece. We're going to just put that one, file that one over there. What am I looking for? I'm actually looking for my tear tape. This is how I secure my ribbon. Okay, so when I want to use ribbon, I'll work out where I want it to sit, which in this case is just essentially going to be just above that sentiment. I'll bring this around here and see, even with the alcohol, you can see that it's come through even with that. And then I'll secure my ribbon like so. Or I don't know if these scissors are going to be the best for this, but anyway, we'll see how we go. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. And I actually think this one needs a bow. Yeah, less is best. I think I'm agreeing with you here, Chris. I think so. So you can get, depending on which way you send your ribbon in, depends on what sort of bow you get. So, and I, you know, for even though I've been doing this for over 10 years, I can still never remember which way it is that I want my bow to sit. So I've got my card like so. I've ribbons on, spools on this side. I haven't cut it off my spool because I don't like wastage, and this is the easiest way I find that I don't get wastage. I'm going to, and one side's shine on this ribbon, one side's shiny and one side's not. So if I want my shiny side to be my bunny ear, for want of a better word, I'm going to go across and over. I'm trying to make sure by doing this that my two tails end up down here. All right. And that's that. Cut it across with the grain of it. Okay. You could colour your leaves if you wanted to. You don't have to. And then I'm just going to stick that on there. That's a little bit long, so we'll just trim this one down a bit. And I'm actually going to stick it on flat. So to stick this one on flat, I will use glue. Let's see if this one's, oh, it's got some in it. That's always a good sign, isn't it? Pop some glue on your ribbon. Make sure that your ribbon gets a little bit of glue on it. I'm leaving these pieces of the tape on here. The reason why I leave them on there is so that they hold on to that nice and securely. The reason why I put glue on my tape is so that on my ribbon, and that is so that that ribbon is also glued securely. I don't know if anyone's been out in the heat and that with their cards, they will notice that any tape that you use will peel when it gets exposed to the heat. Just pop that on there like so. Nobody said our cards had to be layer upon layer, although I love layers. I just love fibre too. So I do like to use fibre, but sometimes we don't need to make it so much, have so many layers and so much stuff without, so we like it to be a little bit classy. Okay, as long as it's straight. I like mine to be straight. So that's that card sorted like that. Now we will need an inside. And the reason why we need an inside is because I am going to colour it with some of our blends. So pulling back out our pieces of paper, normally I wouldn't put an inside on a white card. I'd just stamp straight on it. But I'm going to stamp these leaves on in here, and I'll do the same on my envelope while I've got it happening. Just so that it matches. Okay, and I'll just wipe that off there so I don't get it on the back of my envelope at the same time. I know what I should have done. Quite frequently I'll butt these next to each other and I'll stamp them both at the same time, but I wasn't thinking, so I forgot. Okay. And we'll stamp this one on here to match this side. Now, there is a little bit of talk of Australia Post not particularly liking us having extra things on our envelopes, the side of their address and their stamp, but oh, I've got a fingerprint. Oh no. Nobody saw that. But what you find is if you put it to the side, it's not that big a deal. So this is our one with our Pretty Peacock. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a Pretty Peacock colour, and I will use the other end just so I can. Now, when you're colouring on your envelopes, you want to make sure that you press lightly. Do not put too much colour on, because it will go straight through your envelope, and it will go straight through both layers if you're not careful. All right. So we just want to make sure that we don't be too heavy-handed, essentially, is what I'm saying. I probably should have brought the light one over to the table for doing the envelope, but I'm also going to do our inside to match. It's fast. I find it faster with the brush tip, but I have a tendency to go out of the lines with it. And you'll notice that I'm not that neat, because I don't think it calls for you to be neat. We just need a little bit of colour. Not everything has to be perfectly coloured. And I'll hold this up a bit closer so that you can see. If you ask me, it still looks pretty good with it not coloured. And then when I do this, it doesn't want to come out as much. The yellow one was better. All right, so there's a little bit of flicking colours on there, but you'll notice it's really hard to see. But see how, even though I haven't gone out of all the lines, it still looks pretty good. Okay. You make my life better. I wonder if I could send this to lots of people. I'm sure we've all got people that make our life better. All right, I'll just pop this one on the inside. Can you imagine how nice this would be to receive in the mail? Actually, probably would have been even nicer if I put a black thing around it. But that's right. Again, make sure it's straight. You've got a little bit of wiggle room with the glue, not any with the when you use the tape. Right. There's one card, one envelope. Why does that feel sticky under there? Right. These look lovely, and because we've got this little bit of daffodil on there, I've left my take your pick tool on the table, but I haven't. It's here. All right. We can pop didn't want to come. Just a couple of little gems. Okay. But it's fun. And you're going to get a different pattern every time you use your alcohol. So let's go back to that first lot of colours. Okay. And you've got all different size blocks. Like the first block I used, this one here was a D block. You will need to use some alcohol to get it off. And I think I'm going to need to use some alcohol to get it off my mat, my glass mat as well. You'll need to use some alcohol to get it off here. But I'm thinking this one's too big. However, this one here is E. And look, E's going to fit over the whole thing quite nicely. However, I think it might be too big. So we'll use the same size. I'll use the other side. Actually, no, I'll just clean it. You're not the alcohol, you're water. Here's the alcohol one. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Smells horrible. Excuse me. Oh boy. Gosh, That's the alcohol for you. Okay, so let's go back to our pale colours. This Balmy Blue didn't really work, I don't think. It was really hard to see. So let's use the Tahitian Tide. I really like how Petunia Pop came up with our yellow, but I really love the green. What do you reckon? And shall we go blue, green, and what colour? Who wants to pick a colour? Thank you, Cheryl. Who wants to pick a colour? So we got Petunia Pop. Oh, I brought Calypso Coral over. So Petunia Pop, Calypso Coral. Oh, that's pretty too. Yeah. Anyone want to? Lisa, you like the pink? Okay. First in best dress. Let's go with the pink. Okay. So, all right, and pink's going on the bottom. All right, we'll go for pink on the bottom. Pink. Green. Oh, or she'll go pink, blue, and green. Pink, blue, green. It doesn't need to be. Oh, I know that I brought over the. Well, this one might. Oh, I don't know how this is going to show up. You can barely see it on here. Like, you can't see it. Okay. It's very squeaky though. What about if I ditch the green, even though green's my favourite, and I'll just bring in the peach pie again? Because peach pie came up quite nicely on the first one. Sorry, excuse me. That alcohol's got up my nose now. Put a bit more. All right. Back in with the alcohol. Make sure you point this. There's like a little. Can you see the little nozzle? Make sure you point that in the right direction. Do not spray it at oneself. And just let them blend a little bit together. Put another squirt on it. And the higher you squirt it up from, the difference you're going to get on there. So like if I've got this right the way up here, whoop, oh, it didn't even land on it. It comes up with different things. Okay, so let's square this up. Oh, this is very different. Okay, look at that. And get that off. Wow. Okay, put a bit more on there, and because it was still some left on it, so that bit must have dried. Right. Let's try on this one first. I just want to try something. That makes no difference whatsoever if you spray it again. Okay, so we won't do that. All right. So that's pretty. That one's really pretty. Okay, now I don't have a full card with me, but what color? Okay, Lisa, since we picked the pink and the orange that you like, what color am I going to splatter on it? Okay. Oh, look, I've actually got, there's in here, there's a splatter ink. Oh, there's a splatter spot. Okay. So, oh, stuck. So what color am I going to splatter on here? Oh, do you want to, let's use this one. I really like this one. It reminds me of a thistle. I don't think it's supposed to be a thistle, but it reminds me of a thistle. Okay, I wonder where she's gone. You still there, Lisa? Okay. That looks pretty. Do we splatter with blue? Oh, yep, blue. Okay, yep, I agree, blue. Okay. Ooh. A little bit of splatter with the blue. And just because we can, let's put a little bit of green in these leaves. Now, they're not going to run, that black ink's not going to run because that black ink is Memento and Memento is watercolor. Okay, so it washes up with water, whereas the alcohol markers will not affect that. And same but different. We could, oh, I'm scared I'm going to wreck it. I don't want to wreck it. Let's pop. It's going to go on here. Oh, sorry, excuse my nose. We do have ribbon in all of these different colors of the new in colors. So I do have somewhere in the house Petunia Pop ribbon. I do have some peach pie ribbon. I was actually looking for my check ribbon, but I couldn't find it because I really like it and I think it would be perfect on here, but I couldn't find it. What I do have here, and you all know that you can do this, is I've got a marker, and this I love the glass mat. You'll all be you know what I rave about this glass mat. I might just make this piece of baker's twine two-toned, and then I'm going to use it. So essentially it's blue and white. So I haven't colored it in perfectly either. You can use our regular markers on here. You can use our ink on them, on the baker's twine as well, to change the color of it. But the alcohol markers dry really fast, so I have a tendency to prefer to use those. So what we're going to do this time, just because we can, and because everybody's still, I'm going to put the same sentiment on it, okay? Because I really like this sentiment. So we'll stick that on first, just to make sure that I do this in the right spot. You make life better. Such a pretty sentiment. Okay, and this one, I'm going to do both of them at the same time. Okay. So we'll go about there. Okay, we'll just pull these two over here. And they're currently sitting on top of each other, which they'll end up still doing. All right. I'm not pulling them too tight. You don't want to pull them too tight, because if you pull them too tight, when you go to tie your bow on it, it will make your piece of cardstock roll. And we don't want to do that. Okay. So we've got two pieces there. Instead of tying a bow like I did before, I'm going to do something that the girls that come to class have seen in the past, but others will have not. And I'm going to need to colour in more ribbon to do this, and then more baker's twine to do this. If you want to make a big messy bow, there's a couple of ways that you can do it, and this is the way that one of the ways that I like. So I actually want to make this more blue, so we'll just hop. I'm just going to colour a little bit more in. And it's a bit blue and white stripy. Okay, because I'm not doing it all perfectly. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so you'll notice I'm going to wind this around my fingers a couple of times. So I've got it around there 3 times. And I did not colour enough. And that's what I like about this. It doesn't come off on your fingers because the alcohol dries so fast. That's the other thing. If you put alcohol in a spritzer, you have to put the lid on it. Otherwise, you'll come back to use it again in 2 weeks' time and there'll be no alcohol left in it because it will just dry up. The same as these guys, if you don't put the lid on them, they have a tendency to dry out rather quickly, especially if you've got the heater on like I have. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. So I'll just wind this around my fingers again a bit messily. So I've wound it around my fingers. I've got a fairly big loop. Gather it in the middle, twist it. And I don't know if you were paying attention when I did this before. I've tied a loop of baker's twine around here. And I'm going to shove that in there. And I'm just going to tie a knot on it. Okay? And I'm literally tying a tight knot on it because I want that to stay right where it is. And then I have quite a messy but very effective bow. And that looks pretty good on there. Okay? So now I don't have a whole card to stick this on because I'll have to go across the way to get that. But you get the picture. And I will finish this one. I promise I will finish this one up at a later date. I should have brought more over, shouldn't I? All right. Yeah, the messy bow, Pauline, looks really good. It looks amazing on a scrapbook page if you do it bigger. It almost looks like a jute flower. We've got, like that packet has got numerous different colours in it. There's these colours and there's black in the baker's twine packet. This is our linen thread. And let me tell you, that is one of my most favourite twines. You can colour it anything you like. But when you just go round and round and round, it makes it look like a really cool, messy flower. And it does. It looks lovely on some of the, I've done it on scrapbook pages and it just looks absolutely beautiful. So again, this time I'm not going to use the yellow ones because I don't think they'll work, but the clear ones on here will. I've got a big chunk of putty on the end here of our take your pick tool so that I can just grab it on there. And I have a tendency, I don't know if you've all noticed, just rub that bit of putty off. You can colour these with your Stampin Blends, and they look absolutely glorious. It's got putty on it, or has it got? Oh no, it's just actually the reflection. Don't mind me. I thought I'd left a bit of putty on it. So I'll add this to a card front, but same technique, same stamp set, 2 completely different cards based on your colours. Yeah, try it on your next layout. It looks really amazing. You can make this as big as you like. So you could just keep winding it round and round and round your fingers, and then you could just spread it right out, and it can almost go in a whole circle. but it does. It looks quite excellent. And if you cut you can trim it right so that you don't end up with these two little extra little taggy bits around here. But yeah, that's for another day. This bit, well, there are probably too many colors. 3 colors works quite nicely when we're experimenting with things. Turned out good, didn't it, Lise? But yeah, and look, I'm actually thinking that even if you went back and to match your envelope coloring these leaves here with the pretty peacock, that would look amazing as well. Or even just putting some Winker Stella on them would look pretty fabulous too. So thank you for joining me today. It was good to see you all. Hopefully you've enjoyed playing with your Stampin' Blends. I'm just going to change this back so you can just see me. I don't know what that was, but I think I'm here by myself. No, Maeve's here. And she hasn't come out. That's very unusual. Stampin' Blends are lots of fun. There's lots of different techniques that you can do with them. There's lots and lots of different colors. They're not in every single one of our colors, but there is still, I would say, easily 50 colors because of we've got all the skin tone colors as well. So all you have to do is grab a couple of sets, have a look at them, have a play with them, doing some experimenting with them. You never know what you're going to find out that you like about them. I have used them, Pauline. Another thing I've done with them is I've popped them on a piece of our window sheet, and I've then used them. I've sprayed them. I've just colored them all messy, sprayed them. Looks really cool. You just let it dry, and that looks really good on a scrapbook page too. Looks really good on the front of a card as well. So there's lots of different things you can do with the Stampin' Blends. Alcohol. Oh, hey, alcohol's fun. What do they say? Yeah. So enjoy, have fun. I look forward. Please share if there's anything that you like that you've done with them that you think is good fun. Feel free to show us. Stick a photo on the end of the comments. Say, oh, look what I did with it. It was good fun. So if you're watching this on replay, get out your Stampin' Blends, have a bit of fun. And yeah, thanks for joining me. There is links in the comment. There's links in my header. There's links on the YouTube if you want to go and grab some of your own. Lots of colours of the rainbow to play with. I will catch you all later. I've got to go and play Mum's Taxi. See you later.